Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the roaring thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shouts
so Terron, I'm going to ask you to join me in your own way, the way you know how. And she could please speak to me, Kakagi Sumano. I'm going to sing a song for her, and I'll say a few more words here. I'd like you to read that letter. Oh, let's see. Bernice Kuti, Mabostar, Mausi Manto. Gerati Pichi, Gilmagot, Igoat, Sinata, Magid Nine, Magid Nine. Atanisto to Kapini Poyan, Timagoit Skate, Kai Kapiwani Tamo, Kai Kapiwani Tamo, Nista one to Tim. Minos, Wipananza, Etikats Martin Nota. I go out to see Mogoani, Nota, Peach Magi, Matwista, Pianaskamo. Can we stick the commute taxi, we stick the wig. Minota, try some sun, no so much up on a Kakusaki, Aganota Capinaga Tatwista. Kian Capis goes to Quisto, me who have a sack tea when Kai Capiwani to me wisto. We still want to Tim Can Wista. We stuck commute taxi, we stick tea. Pianaskama, we still go on a kill and ask him out no mushroom and go me. Kiaki stick, take a piwichi hot twister. Kiwita hot twister, Ektimanto wiggy. Kian Kimiogonica, Saik, take a piwa pata wister. Pianas go to man, Pianas go to man, Capin Stoim Makista, Pistoim Tankista, Pianas go tin. Minota, Minosti Maskats, the Martin Kistan, nota, Makim, Exigagis, what that nota, Minota Nagamono, the Capim spoim the man, Manto, the week when you want to go Patita and Easter. Kiam Wista, Kimutaxi, Wistan to Tim, Nanik, Pianasco to man. Vicky Kista, Piatic is the Camo, Danik, the Mantoide, Piatic. Kai pita piuta, kai pita pia. Ekti taksin inekti manto wige, kakui. Kakui skapwal. Pisapn nan. Piwapn nan is nan. Big squeeze the bone nikti. Oapa tintan sinis nan to kapit maxia. Ya manika skomano to gaunanaski. Piwichin nan. Ektimina kake wisto, mam trimi to quisto, mam tibi kista, and ask a more quisto. Exhibit keeping ask out to my piata kista, take up your toxin in kista, have an ask out in high giton. Method and Nagambon Capim spoim the man. Take care of a baby dog. Capit, it's a bit my game. It's my game. Made a Kiwista, Ectiquisto, no two, Xeno, Quisto, Wistamana Capiga, Kismut, Wisto, Takia, Peace with Goes to the Great. Bernice go to so we will be kiamista kami taksi wiste tinto tim nan. Kiamikti manto wiki kapi taksi wista. Kiamikti kami ogoni wista. Ti wiste mi ogisita twisto ma igan ma wista. Uma si matsun wiste mi ogisita twista. Ivana wista kamam tri mi wiste ti pinas kamam kapinsto maknista. Pinas kotman mona to kitwanista pinas kamam kapinsto makwisto anto tim. Exitma. Kmisatski wa vigoatsi kakyo na masyomtik no komtik. Kisto ektima wiste kapika gismot wiste to tim. Kisto piwichi hayek wisto akimyo taksi wisto. Pinas kumtik wisto. Kisto yapik tansi kisto kamamo tao hesi manto. Kapi wapat wisto tanto tim kapit maxi wisto. Exiga gismotat no ta hay giton nas kopti no sukti no musumtik no komtik. Exiga gismotat no ta hay. You have a seat if you want a little bit. Just want to say a few words before you go. I know a lot of times it's really difficult at this time, and many tears will be shed. But sometimes when I get invited, I always tell that story. When I worked in the hospital here for the last 20 years, and I heard an old man get up and he was talking to his relatives. He said, we had an argument. You know, sometimes the last time we seen her, we had an argument with him. And it's just human nature sometimes, he said. But you know, when she passed on, he said, she forgave us all for the things that we may have said about her, for the things that we may have done to her a little bit. You know, all the challenges and the work that she used to do with all of her people. She always put herself, didn't put herself there, but she was always asked to help people. And New Zealand, I know they talking to my friend Taye, and they're feeling over there right now too also, because she had an impact over there too. And so I think in that place we do, it's difficult. They call it mantoa tuskiwan, what she was doing too also, God's work. And it doesn't get very easy, it doesn't, you know. And I see her, I admire her strength sometimes. He just keeps on going. And we talk many times, and sometimes we struggle sometimes. But I think in her belief in God and believe in what she does, and that's all you have to know. Just do the best that you can. And so we've got to know each other for quite a while. We met each other all the time sometimes, through ceremonies, through sun dances, through any kind of ceremony. All the seen her there. So I think we have to count our blessings, what we know her from her, and all these blessings that we received from her. I think that's what we will embrace those, because you can't just ignore that, because it's beautiful teaching she left, and those are God's blessings for us to keep on going, find strength, look after our families, love your families like she loved her family, and that she was she walked in that way, and I've known her for quite a while, and she hasn't changed. And the more and more we talk about different things, and we share different things about this culture, this spirituality. And it always comes down to mantoa tuskiwan, that's how it comes down to. Just have to follow that route as best as you can. When you're asked to do something, do it, Don't shy away. So that's part of it. I'd like my friend to come read that letter for us today from New Zealand. I got this on my computer the other day, the same day, was it last week? And so I copied most of it, so I'm going to get her to read it. That's from Taye from New Zealand. Sorry, you might have to start over.
It's okay. Okay. So again, this is from Aotearoa, Taye, that they have laid sage and tobacco down and are saying many prayers and acknowledging the loss of for all of us, all of Vicky's family in Canada and across the world. She was loved by so many, and she worked tirelessly for her people. She gave us women in New Zealand such great opportunities to come to Canada and take part in ceremony, fasting, Sundance, and the training at Stan Daniels. Because of Vicky, we met you and stayed at Enoch on your land. We met Howard and his wife and so many beautiful people. A big comfort is in knowing that we visited and that now she is visiting with her parents and other loved ones, that the Creator has wrapped her in his arms and journeyed her home. And ask one, thank you, Taye.
Anybody else want to say a few words? Anybody want to say a few words? Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Sorry, I gotta get my ducks in a row here. I need to put my old lady glasses on. My name is Holly, and I am the niece of Auntie Vicky. Sorry. Can you hear? I'm going to read the eulogy today for Auntie Vicky. Please be patient, because I might stumble. Victoria Jean Whalen. Her Indian name was Turtle Woman. One of the first teachings of Vicky is to acknowledge the Creator, giving thanks for life we have and the love we share, to pay our respects to this amazing woman, acknowledge the many lessons and gifts she has given to us. We can each remember the way she made us feel. She was genuine, she was kind, she was caring, she was loving, and gave freely of herself. It is not easy to tell the story of a life well lived in a few pages of words, whether you spend a brief time or a lifetime with her. What she shared with us may not be replaced, but oh, how they can make you smile, all those memories. Victoria Jean Whalen was born in 1945. Her mother was Evangeline and her father was Robert. They had 6 children, her sister Bernice, Lori, the brothers Andy, Robert, and my late Uncle Bruce. As many of you know, Vicky had a colorful life that she shared through her stories. She could tell you about the hardship and pain, yet focus always came back to the lessons learned. Vicky enjoyed married life. She always used to say she was just one shy of Elizabeth Taylor and would tell you her best rewards came from her children, who are here today. Blaine and Debbie formed the circle of her world. You could see the pride in her expressions when she spoke of experiences and successes they shared. Vicky's family circle grew with grandchildren, who are here today, and great-grandchildren, each one with unique gifts that she could see. Receiving the love of our mother, cookum, sister, or auntie could bring comfort to any situation, and this feeling of safety will be missed. Many thanks are given to Blaine and Debbie for sharing the love and time of their mother. Blaine, we appreciate we appreciate the way you took care of Mom, protecting her, comforting her, and making her so proud to have you as a son. Debbie, the footprints that she left you to follow are gentle, like you, and she was happy for your path you are taking helping others. Preparing for her farewell and being witness to her passing are sacred gifts. In this time of grief, take comfort in knowing that your mom was confident you would be okay. You have great support and loving partners. You have a bigger, even bigger extended family that is here for you as well. For the brothers and sisters that remain, your sister loved you, always prayed for the best for you and for your lives. She spoke fondly of the lives you shared. Taking a trip to BC or heading out to Fishing Lake always brought back great stories to share. For Bernice, Denise, myself, Holly, you were by Vicky's side on many special occasions. Those late night conversations, rare duets, road trips are memories for us to cherish. Auntie Vicky created many families over the years. It's difficult for some of us to define her role in our life. She could be a sister, an auntie, a mom, a cookum, or a friend. Her nature was to get to know people, and often she knew better than you knew yourself. Vicky was able to make each of us feel that we were unique. She believed in us and taught us to believe in ourselves. We have all experienced her love and trusted her with our most personal stories. She knew how to separate the sacred from the BS, a rare quality. Drawing on her own experiences, she could show you that we are not that different and that all people go through the good and the bad. While she had limited patience for ego, she did have tolerance and believed in forgiveness. Kayam, let it go, was her solution. While Vicky shared fond memories of her days cooking in camps, as a helper and then as a supervisor, the real change for her started when she began working in the helping profession. In the early 80s, Auntie Vicky was hired by Native Counseling Services of Alberta. Her first role was as a Native court worker. She would have to visit people who had been picked up overnight and speak on their behalf. One of the fears that Auntie Vicky had to overcome to do this job was to learn how to speak in public. And now it seems she's teaching me that lesson. Her job required her to speak to a judge and often in a courtroom full of people. One of her traits was to stick up for people who could not do it for themselves. And so many of us have felt her support in these situations. As her need for challenge grew, she transferred within Native Counseling Services and worked at the MAX, the Edmonton institution, as a Native liaison officer and a similar role in Bowden. She would say how working with people inside taught her some of the best lessons, some of the best life lessons. These work experience led her to the Family Life Improvement Program, also known as FLIP. It was also a time when her personal and cultural awareness began to grow. As she dealt with her own personal issues, she gained confidence and strength to help others. Vicky transferred to Stan Daniel Center and became a program facilitator. She facilitated groups covering a range of topics on grief, loss, feelings, family, addiction, violence, and healing. Culture, ceremony, and spirituality were inseparable in her approach to these facility groups. This paved the way for her to do a cultural exchange program in Australia for a year of 1994 and 1995. Working with the Aboriginal sobriety group, Vicky developed the FLIP program, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Yatiala Prison, the first of its kind, the first healing program. There was another example of Vicky's courage. She had to leave her home and her family and to move to another country with snakes. Auntie Vicky dislikes snakes, just as I do. Snakes and water were not her favorite things to encounter. She said if she had known there were snakes and spiders in Australia, she may not have gone on that work exchange. Getting her into the water was unheard of, and yet when she was taken on the river during one of her visits to New Zealand, she knew it was a spiritual experience and approached it in a way she knew was right. As a guest in another land, she did what she had been taught, to approach it with respect and to make offerings for a safe journey. Vicky, of course, encountered the water and would tell of how when she went under, it was just like a hand pushing me right back out, and she knew she would be protected. The experience was unforgettable and life-changing. Vicky is known by the ancestors and loved ones in Aotearoa. Is that correct, Denise? Sorry for the mispronunciation. Her life forces have been felt on land, water, and Maori. She was able to visit, I'm pretty sure that's in Maori. We acknowledge the grief of our extended family in Australia, New Zealand, and other parts of the world. Every ceremony, she would pray for her family across the waters, as we know, you know. As we now know, now pray for her. Vicky returned home to work in Stan Daniels Healing Center and was a key supporter to men involved in the development of Rage, a 4-part series considered how early life experience related to men's involvement in violence and crime. This work was the foundation of which the In Search of Your Warrior program was built on and has now been adapted for women. Vicky was a master facilitator for this program. No matter which projects or programs or place Vicky worked in, it was her own personal touch, her open way of sharing that added to the success of this work. She worked in Prince Albert at Saskatchewan Penitentiary and started working with women at the Edmonton Institute. Each program, person, and place helped to prepare her and create the connections to where she spent the last part of her career. The final place for Vicky was at Buffalo Sage Wellness House. Her commitments to helping women heal and grow was strong within her. She enjoyed her time in residence as the elder and continued to facilitate groups. Known as Kukum to All, time spent in her presence was life-changing. She loved and respected the woman she got to know. She would say, "It doesn't even feel like work." Vicky walked through pain and joy with both staff and residents. It was from Buffalo Sage that Vicky entered her retirement, which we all knew meant she had other things to do. From the time she started as a court worker, her learning about justice and health became clear. She not only worked, Vicky was a dedicated volunteer to numerous organizations. Vicky was a member of the National Elders Work Group, Correction Service Canada, a founding member of Silver Sage addressing HIV and related issues among Indigenous peoples, and facilitated for Healing Our Spirit worldwide conferences. She had received numerous awards, including the Squeo Award from the Institute for the Achievement of Indigenous Women. Vicky believed in lifelong learning. She encouraged and supported many to go back to school. She participated in numerous community-driven research projects and was the first elder appointed to the Native Studies PhD Supervisor Committee at the University of Alberta. Vicky was always learning. You could tell by the excitement in her eyes, voice, when she discovered something new about herself and work. We were able to learn with her as she shared openly and gave what she knew freely. Her final position that she expressed such gratitude for was her appointment to the National Parole Board. Although she was to assume these duties when her health improved, the acknowledgement that her ability to speak Cree, conduct ceremony, and her own healing journey made her a perfect candidate. She was retired and yet as active and needed as ever. I recall Auntie Vicky actually phoning me when she got the call. for the National Parole Board. She was so very proud of that. What we know today is that she's taking her place in the most sought-out position within the helper circle of the Creator. We have been taught how to reach her, and she knows what we are all going through in this time. Vicki worked hard all her life. She had many interests, including reading and suggesting good books to read. Me and Auntie Vicki exchanged many books together. Vicki loved music. She could play guitar and sing some of the oldest hurting country songs there were. Vicki also held many ceremony songs that were passed on to her by her teachers, and songs that were gifted to her through her fast or other ceremonies. Openly, she shared these songs with a gentleness and hope that they would be remembered. This is the collective learning we can do when we gather again in those beautiful spaces she helped to create. Dealing with emotions was the core of Vicki's life. She knew what she gave out, and she knew that what she gave out, she would get back. Well, it was not easy. It has been an incredible journey we have witnessed. To know Auntie Vicki was to also get to know fears. As a woman with so much life experience to draw on, she could make you laugh about how she dealt with trials, tribulations, anger, fear, and grief. There was always the other side to celebrate. Thank you for this time to share about Vicki. She was such a humble person and did not brag about herself or the gifts she possessed. This is such a good example of what a true elder is, and while she would not call herself that very often, we who have been part of her circle sat around her kitchen table, tending a ceremony fire with her, gone on medicine picking, or to get rocks. These times she was our teacher, and what a great example of how to live a life well. If there is a lesson to be learned through loss, it is that our memories remain. Please, everyone, remember. The love each of us receive from Vicki is an eternal gift. Love is our strongest medicine, one of the teachings passed to Vicki and then to us. Love exists beyond the physical realm. Expressions of our grief have been difficult as we all face our current world changing. Vicki knew this. She was prepared for whatever the Creator decided. She also took time to prepare us. Her faith in the Creator and all the help she received through her life was given back to each of us as a gift. We have been taught how to call on her. She is where she is needed, and her lifelong work here is done. Go forward in your life, feel her love, and know she has arrived and is taking her well-earned place. True to her spiritual name, Turtle Woman, slow and steady wins a race. And for her, this is another beautiful beginning. Now, Auntie Vicki would say, let's go smoke. I have one more thing that I would like to read. I'm going to have to use my phone for it. This is something that I read when I had graduated the social work program, and this is something that is very, very fitting for my Auntie Vicki. Once upon a time, there was an old man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach every morning before he began his work. Early one morning, he was walking along the shore after a big storm had passed and found the vast beach littered with starfish as far as the eye could see, stretching in both directions. Off in the distance, the old man noticed a small boy approaching. As the boy walked, he paused every so often, and as he grew closer, the man could see that he was occasionally bending down to pick an object and throw it into the sea. The boy came closer still, and the man called out, "Good morning. May I ask you what you're doing?" The young boy paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean. The tide has washed them up onto the beach, and they can't return to the sea by themselves," the youth replied. "When the sun gets high, they will die unless I throw them back into the water." The old man replied, "But there must be tens of thousands of starfish on the beach. I'm afraid you won't really be able to make much of a difference." The boy bent down, picked up yet another starfish, threw it as far as he could into the ocean. Then he turned, smiled, and said, "I made a difference to that one." That was Auntie Vicky. Auntie Vicky shared so very, very much with us. I'm grateful for the time that I've had. Blaine and Debbie, I have nothing but love for you. And I thank you for sharing your mom with me. She was my second mom, and she was second mom to many of us. I'm proud to be her niece. And she has left a beautiful legacy for all of us to follow. She's made a beautiful road for us. Let's hold our heads high, and let's send Auntie home in a good way. Hi, hi. I know you don't want this, but you gotta. Oh, sorry. Tangled up. There you go. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that want to say a few words of anything? It's so difficult. I know, you know, in the work that we've done, and we shared a lot of things that we've done. And I try to follow her example too many times. You know, we talked about it a lot of times. You know, we said we're pitiful. We don't know too much, but we try our best. We don't outdo anybody. We don't undermine anybody. We just do what we can. And it was in the cultural part of it, and she knew so much. And she never talked about herself, and so true. And many times we sat and we talked about different things. And talk about some of the things, and we learned from one another. And I know that her family, I know it's difficult, but at times we can't be like her because she earned a lot of those things. She earned a lot of those, the sacrifices she had to go through, the fast that she organized and come to my place and brought a lot of women down there. And it was just awesome to see her that. And she had that word that called compassion for it, what she done. And she just walked. I try to lead my example after her. No matter how you walk, don't rush, you know. Because no matter what you do, you're going to get criticized anyway. You know, it doesn't matter, but don't let that annoy you, because this is God's work, she will always say. This is God's work. And when you do his work, you know, when you're trying to take some of the stuff that she taught you, move slowly at it. And as these things will come, a lot of these things that she had when time start to begin is to, we will visualize a lot of these teachings, and that's a gift from God. That's when it offers that to understand that part of it. So each is a step towards journey, and she finished her journey. And it's been a really fruitful journey for her. So I think there's so many people that she had an impact on. And that's what will happen to people like her, like God's servant. People will embrace her, and they'll never forget her. That's what they say, manto at the sea. When we work for our Creator, that could happen. We don't take nothing for granted. We don't put ourselves up there someplace where we don't belong. We talk to each other like that. You know, I tell you, skate to mine, you know, I don't know nothing. Pity me. Because it's so hard to speak in a universal language called English at times. And try to understand, learn how to talk, you know, Cree. So I began, I'm just a year older than she is. So I began the journey at a late start and try to learn all these things. I worked at church, and I was a lay minister. And I thought that's where I'm going to find it. But we find God every place. And so what happened was, somebody asked me to go to a sweat. Well, that's where I went to a sweat. And I said, no, I don't like going to those things. I heard bad things about them. And so when I went that first one, I never turned back after that. I kept on going with it. And that's where I started from, easily. I didn't know songs, I didn't know anything. But I kept on going with it to try to understand a little bit at a time. And so I worked in Sundance right from the start, get yelled at and everything else, but just kept on going. And even helping out in the sweat lodges or something, you get yelled at again, but you just put your head down. Because you get tested if you got anger, If you got anger, forget it. Cool off all and come back and see me. So that's part of it. That's part of what the learning that she taught me to also. You take that step, and what she taught you, take it slowly. You'll see what I'm talking about. Because once you're sincere, once you take that step, and then once you start seeing beautiful things, only you could see. And that's when you start embracing it. And that's when you follow her steps and where she went. And it's a beautiful journey she had. I admire her. But I think what I want, anybody else want to say? Well, would you all say something? Please, come up. Can you hear this? Is it okay?
Hello, I'm Freedom, Cookum's granddaughter. I just wanted to acknowledge how far Cookum has come. With residential schools and stuff, like we have trauma that exists in our DNA, but we also have strength. And I feel like Cookum Vicky taught us all that we can take our trauma and we can learn from it and we can grow and we can use it to heal other people, to help heal other people. And I'm just so grateful and I'm so thankful that we had Cookum in our lives, and Mom. And you guys both broke a cycle of addictions, and I'm really thankful for that.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. I feel blessed to be her daughter, and for all of the teachings that she's given me, and some of them were very hard lessons. But my mom taught me kindness, respect, unconditional love, and humility. My mom was a very humble person, and I'm gonna miss her very much, but I know that she's where she needs to be so that she can be there for all of us. And whenever I need her, I can just call her. Not on the phone, but there's other ways. So I just want to say thank you to everybody.
I'm Denise. This was my second mom. She was my first wet lodge ceremony and got the experience to share with many people. she loved in my introduction to my journey. And as I'm taking it slow because I know there's lots of things I'm not ready for yet because I'm not physically, mentally, spiritually ready for certain things, but she was our warrior. She was a good role model for women and men. To all our family in New Zealand and Australia, she'd come back and share the stories. Taye, thank you for the eulogy you gave Bob. Deirdre, we got to meet your daughter yesterday, and she's beautiful. Tanya, John, everybody over there, Christine, Carol, all the stories she shared with us and you shared and she brought back with us. When I went to New Zealand, I got to go in the river, and that was a sacred spiritual event for me also. I've been to a couple other sweats, and I have had the honor to be in Bob's sweat also. Again, like with everybody, I'm honored that I was her favorite. And Debbie and Blaine, thank you for sharing your mom with us. And Mom and everybody else, thank you for sharing her with us also. And thank you, Bob, for being here today. And I just love her, and I know the tears are just for myself right now, because I know she's already up there with everybody else rejoicing and just clearing a path, and hopefully clearing the path so I can enter one day too. Thank you, Auntie Vicky, for everything you taught me so far. And again, I will follow slow steps. I'm not, like Bob says, slow steps, because when you ask those questions, sometimes you don't get the answers. But you just plug along. And just thank you. Anybody else? Good.
I was thinking about my friend. I know sometimes we joke too much, and she would give it to me too, And I think those are some of the memories I'll take with me. I think it's difficult. I think what main thing that come out of this whole thing is that we remind ourselves that the longest journey, what we're going to have to make, is from here to here. It's going to be your longest journey. Take this walk, this path slowly. And God will never let you go once you begin that journey, regardless how hard it gets. So you just try to do the best you can. So it was always an honor, to be with her and take some of them gifts that she left. And I think I'd like to. She met a beautiful lady named Auntie Oli down in New Zealand. Auntie Oli. She was one of the respected elders from New Zealand. And she made friends with her. So did I. I went and visited her. And, she was a beautiful, beautiful lady. She passed a few years ago now. But she was another lady that had impact with my friend here. But I think in a journey that we take, this journey takes you all over the place sometimes. And sometimes those choice of words, and I heard her speaking sometimes, and that's what that flows, that's what keeps going. And that's what these New Zealand people are feeling that now. Keep on going in what she started. It doesn't stop. It's never ending, the work that you do. It's never ending. God's work is never ending. But you just do the best that you can. And I think she'll be with us the time we have those little struggles. And we keep continuing on. I always said there's no closing. I don't have no closing songs. There's nothing closing. I think when we said our goodbyes, that's when we said goodbye. That's the only time we say goodbye. But she's going to be with us in time from time when our struggles. I know that, and to encourage us to keep on going. Don't. Sometimes it's so hard when we get into that space of mind. That when we're mourning, it's so difficult. But I know it's hard. But I think with these beautiful words that were said here today, hopefully that you'll take some and take them home with you. I'd like to do this song if I can again. I sing this in the Sundance, and I sing that in my sweat lodge. Not mine. It's not my sweat. I don't own nothing. In the sweat lodge, I've been honored to be able to lead a little bit once in a while. So I like to do this song, and for all of us in this journey, this morning, all these beautiful things that were said here today. And especially to the Mauro people, I think they're called. Forgive me if I said that wrong. New Zealand, and I know I'm probably going back there one more time if I can. So I've been keeping contact with them. So join me in your way as we do this song. Every song too is it's like a prayer song. This one here I sing Sundance and also at sweat lodges. Samina pena skota man mamotai mausi manto. Mera wanto tim kanaga skate twister. Itu wigi gaito ti twister manto tim. Wisto to tra simsa nos machapana ka kio wisto kapeswin ghost wisto. Amigo amsak tihiwan mskausiwan. Ya wisto Agapiwani take wisto. Pianask ma wisto one to team with a capin stoy magnista cars. Pin stoy magnista. Pisagi hagnista. Kiam we stick take a pitoxi with the ananas. Pianascotin. Atmani plan. Agi plan. Excrease the mona and how be which in Yahweh, sitä niistä. Kehän pietoksien pikkuista muunan. Pikkuista muunan nektiä pietoksien kistä. Kaika puuniit maailmaa toskiuen. Sitten maamsaats. Niistä piwaa nekti haaksi kaikista. Mutta noita hai. Hai. Papuja mielestä. Hai.